to recap on it, looking at the shoulder height here, so how far it is anterior, I'd say on the chest here, pretty level. So I can't really pick one or the other and go, I have to work on that. Right? I think the key test when you're looking for pec minor subscap is external rotation. Always do it laying down. And we'll just check here, Paul probably got, if he's got fine range of motion, there's no point doing this, but not far off, probably 85 degrees. Anyone remember how far? About 100's good. Bit of stretch there, mate. You feel it in the joint in your shoulder, or is it in through your chest?
Arm and joint and shoulder.
Yeah? Alright, so we'll just be cautious there if it's the joint, because we don't want to cause any damage in the joint. We don't want to have any impingement or anything going on in there. Go. Oh, don't like that one as much. Let's see, any pain there?
Yeah, back of the arm.
Back of the arm, so it's just jamming up through the back here. And it indicates we might do a bit of back and shoulder massage as well, so no dramas. Mike, if that one had that little bit of impinge then, I'll do that side. Okay. Right? Beauty. Bit of oil. I'm just going to warm him up first. I always work across the chest. I find I can get in there better. Unless I'm doing nice relaxation work, I never do any of the from the head of the bed work. I don't worry about it. So most of the work will be on that side of the bed, guys. These ones will need to move around as I'm doing different releases. So first off, I just want to see what the quality of the pec is as I'm working across the chest. It doesn't feel too bad. There's a little bit of tension just under the acromion and out on the edge of pec major. So straight away I start thinking if I drag that arm out to the side, it'll lengthen those lower fibres of pec major and I can probably get through them quite nicely. I'm not going to do that at this second because you'll need to do it again straight away then. You can also have a feel that coracoid process. You feel just below the coracoid process and do some little cross fibres, you can actually feel a little bit of pec minor through pec major. If you've got a really big chest you won't, but I can already feel I'm going down to the ribs pretty quickly on Paul. So he doesn't have so much a big chest, but you know, the rib cage is quite large. And that doesn't feel too bad. Anything really nasty in through there, mate? No? So we'll do pec minor release, but it probably won't be too bad on him. It's probably a good thing. Okay? So cross fibring through there, clean off underneath the shoulder and try and get that feeling nice and smooth. And then we'll be. Then I'll bring that arm out. Come through there. Yep. And I'll start to work a bit of cross fibres. So I can work from here, I can work from the side. So I get some cross fibre work happening here.
Getting a good angle on it.
At least you're looking for it, that's fine. So get some cross fibre work
I feel
happening
like
here.
a cameraman.
I can go longitudinal. I love my knuckles through the side of the chest, and I generally work backwards with a lot of control. And just back it off around the point of the shoulder there. It's going to be a bit too nasty, so it's just a nice warm up. Keep that away. I'm allowed to have them out of tape.
I'll put tape on them next week.
Right, we'll see what the anterior deltoid's like. The big thing I want to know is just as I come off the shoulder onto the humerus, is there a real nasty section through the front of the shoulder here? If there is, what am I more likely looking at? Not so much the anterior deltoid, but what's under it there? Through the front and the front of the arm. There's a bicipital groove, and below that's a lot of the attachment points like subscap, pec major. So if there's something really nasty here, you can get really finicky and actually work out which muscle it is. You don't have to get right into that, but as long as you know that that attachment site's sore, probably got a little bit of issue going on between pec major, subscap, lat. They're all the ones attaching in there. Or bicep going over the top. You'll know that because you just follow the bicep right up and they sort the whole way through it, not just at this point through here. So that's not too bad. A few different ways you can get in under pec minor. So you two are going to be in a real bad spot here. I can get my arm here, roll that arm out nicely. If my client's going to relax, all right, if they're going to want to hold their arm up here and not relax, I can't do this position, but just watch my feet there. So This is the thumb version. This is the nicer version, not the nicest and not the nastiest. So if we find the edge of pec major,
I'm not running over your toes.
I'm going to come in underneath pec major with those two thumbs, heading towards, you know, pec minus here. Alright, so heading towards it, giving a nice release in under on pec minor. So follow the ribs as far as you can, and you'll hit basically just a line of tension in front of you. That muscle will be sitting close to the ribs. Alright, feel a little bit of tenderness there. Alright, this is a nice position. I've got him propped on my lower abdomen there, the arms externally rotated, nice and relaxed. Other positions with some people, they're really, really tight, so even putting that little bit of tension on pec major, you can't then get under it. You can get into them with the hand just under the lower back, so just sliding under the lower back. You can't get in as far, but it softens this up. So it's not the best way to do it, but if you can't get in with the arm externally rotated, you can work this way. Same thing, two thumbs up in underneath. If it's a girl, you can see how my bottom hand is. I've got my hand turned out so that only two fingers and the thumbs are in contact. So you're still not going to be touching anything you don't need to. Right, got him in there. Beautiful. You just got to watch there, if you get onto the side of the pec, which I think I did a little bit there, it's hard to tell when you're underneath or when you're in pec major, because you want pec minor underneath, and that's it there. Okay. The nicest way can be done either standing here and holding the top of pec minor, or if you get that nasty knot there, which I didn't have in Paul. So it's not tight enough for me to do the easy way. I'm going to have to go in underneath and work on it. Or I can turn around this way and work. Okay? I prefer, if I'm working particularly on a girl, to stand at the head of the bed because there's no risk of contact there. So I can stand up in here, get that hand, I'm just going to squeeze in here for a minute. I'll be moving again soon. And so I've just got, so this is when we talk about the lock and key. Lock and key for pec minor. Just below coracoid process, you'll feel that upper trigger point for it. Lock onto it there with the arm out 90 degrees, and then just do a little bit of an overhead reach, and you can feel that sliding under my fingers. And how hard's that on me? I just got to move the arm. As long as I'm doing it and Paul isn't, then we're sweet. If he's doing it, pec major fires, no point. You're not going to get anywhere.
Wow, that felt mad.
You like that one? Nice and red too. For the next one, we can either have the arms under here again and working two hands together, a little bit more advanced, which is how I'll show you now. Or if you can't get in there, you get their hand underneath their head and they just relax that hand there, okay? That's the easier way, but again, a lot more tension on pec major here. It's basically at its full extension, and you're trying to get under it. Imagine trying to get under calf with it full length. You're just not going to get there. So we make it easier by taking a little bit of that length off. The bottom hand is the one that's going to do the work here, the top hand is just support. This is the way you guys would have been taught originally, which is go in from the side. I go under the edge of pec major, so find the edge of pec major, go towards the ribs, and then follow it up in underneath. And I just use the top hand as a support hand for strength. And this is generally the really nasty one, and there we are in there, right on the edge of it. So you can see how much I've moved pec major out of the way. Again, if the edge of pec major is really rigid, it won't let you in here. Okay? 3 different ways. Sometimes if someone's really, really tight, guess what? I'll do all 3 in sequence. I'll do through the top with the thumbs, then with the fingers. And if someone was quite tight as well, here's a little advantage. As long as you're nice and mobile, I can get in here, I can bring Paul's arm back a little bit, and now I can actually do a little bit of movement with it while I'm still locked in under there. Get a little bit of length on pec minor as I'm lifting up. Okay? Right. I'm keeping that towel quite low so you guys can all see. If you're working with a girl, as soon as you're starting to lift that arm up, you've got to make sure that you've got that towel up here. Okay? So that when you come up, you don't have any accidental exposures.
Which you can even get them to hold it too.
Oh, you can, yeah. But as soon as they put their hand here, they're pinning down pec major, which then reduces their movement. So if you can have free movement is better. If you get a really big girl that's sitting out to the side, all you do is get them to come over with the other hand and just lift it up a little bit. Not pull right across and stretch pec major out, but just hold it out of the way so you can get under there without any contact. If their hand's there, no dramas. Okay? The biggest thing here, I've had people say, oh, if they're a bigger girl, leave their bra on. That's all well and good with your standard underwear, but when you start getting thick straps, it can be really hard to get past them. You know, where there's more support, it's harder for us to push past those supports. Okay? Pec minor, just